Time to re-up YouTube. Your boy Young Mustard is back with another video. So Kyrie Irving is now a Dallas Maverick. It was reported yesterday that the Mavericks sent along Dorian Finney-Smith, Spencer Dinwiddie, a first-round pick, and a couple of seconds in exchange for Kyrie Irving. Now, as far as the Nets are concerned, we all know why they did this. Kyrie demanded a trade. They don't want to give him a max contract extension. And considering the relationship between Joe Tsai and Kyrie, it was probably best to part ways now and just get some assets while you can for Kyrie instead of him just walking out the door for nothing. Now, I know a lot of people are going to be clowning me because the Lakers didn't get him, but I am not a Lakers fan. I always have to repeat, anytime I make a video about the Lakers that has anything remotely positive, people swear that I am a fan. No, I'm just being objective. And if you remember in the video that I posted about the Kyrie situation, I said that the Dallas Mavericks were a very viable contender to get Kyrie. I just am very iffy on if they're going to give him the contract extension. But it looks like the Mavericks are willing to risk it all on Kyrie, and it's going to be very interesting to see how this plays out by the end of the season. But before we go any further with this video, you guys make sure you drop a like, subscribe to the channel, and press the bell for post notifications. Those things don't take that long, and they go a very long way to help out this channel. Without further ado though, let's get back to the subject of discussion and talk about this Kyrie Irving situation now that he's on the Dallas Mavericks. With this trade, the Nets have finally closed the door on the Kyrie chapter in Brooklyn, and yes, that probably means they're going to be trading Kevin Durant, or who knows, maybe KD will stay. That's a convo for another day. As far as what this really does for the Nets in a short summary, of course they didn't replace the level of shot creation that Kyrie Irving provides, but they approximated some of that with Spencer Dinwiddie. He's not as good of a shot creator and three-point shooter, but he can still create his own shot off the dribble, and he's a solid off-ball player. Throw in the mix you have Dorian Finney-Smith, a guy who fulfills a need on the defensive side of the ball, provides a lot of versatility on that side, and he's a good help defender as well. Offensively, he isn't providing too much, but he can knock down the occasional catch and shoot three. On top of that, you do get some assets like a first round pick and some second rounders. I know a lot of people are shitting on the Nets because they could have got some other packages, but let's be honest, as far as the two things that they want, to contend and get assets, this was the best that they were going to get in my personal opinion. They definitely could have got better draft capital from the Los Angeles Lakers, being that they were going to give them 2 first-round picks, but the Lakers were probably pretty hesitant to give up certain players like Austin Reeves and Max Christie. Well, that's their problem. So the Mavericks, in my opinion, were the best option for the Brooklyn Nets. They get the ability to rebuild with assets while being competitive with guys like Dinwiddie and Dorian Finney-Smith, that they could even flip for more assets in the future, providing that they want to go through a rebuild phase or if they want to keep KD, which is a subject for another discussion. But looking at the Dallas Mavericks, which is what I wanted to make this video primarily about, I have to say this is a good trade, but definitely a very risky one on their part. I just truly didn't see it happening because Kyrie could get up and leave, but that's the risk that you want to run. Go ahead and do so. I see the balls on Mark Cuban. He's got some for real. And I have to say, in a Western Conference that's very wide open, I don't see how they are not legit contenders. Sure, they may not come out of the Western Conference, hell, they could even lose in the first round, but that's just how tight the Western Conference is. I mean, just think about it. Dallas getting Kyrie just shows why they never should have let go of Jalen Brunson in the first place. I love what it does for Luka Doncic on this team offensively. Sure, the defensive issues are there, and we're going to get to that in a second. I think that offensively, pairing Luka finally with a ball handler that I would consider an elite shot creator, or at the bare minimum a great shot creator, is going to help this offense a ton. And of course, there are great ISO players that love to do that very often, more than the average star, I would even say, especially in Luka's case, because we all know he's the ISO king of the NBA right now. But Luka Doncic in a system where he can be more off ball isn't something that he's accustomed to doing year in and year out. For the most part, he's playing this ISO game, and even last year where they had Jalen Brunson doing the ISO stuff in the playoffs, they went to the Western Conference Finals. And Kyrie is a better off ball player than Jalen Brunson. He's capable off the catch, a good spot up shooter, and for Luka and Kyrie, how difficult is it for them to be cutting to the basket? That's not something impossible for them. They've done it before, and they can definitely adjust to doing it with each other this year. And with C Wood playing down low with them offensively, he's definitely going to provide a level of spacing for them on the interior. The pick and pops, I'm expecting expecting them to be very effective with Kyrie and Luka. And sure, there definitely is a level of depth that they need offensively on that wing, but let's be real, you got to give and take in a lot of these situations. But where I think they gave up a little bit too much is their defense. I understand that they were planning to move on from Dorian Finney-Smith eventually because of that contract, but I still think that he played a very vital role on the defensive side of the ball. Now more responsibilities being put on guys like Maxi Kleber to be their best defensive wing, or you have Reggie Bullock, who's gonna have to be running around at an all-time high to keep up with the best perimeter guards. And on the interior, Christian Wood is just not going to get it done. He is not a good interior defender, especially in a conference where you could run into teams like the Lakers with Anthony Davis, the Timberwolves with Cat and Rudy Gobert, or the Nuggets with Nikola Jokic. And even though I don't think Kyrie Irving is a defensive liability, he's not a huge plus on that side of the ball like Dorian Finney-Smith was. He was easily their best defender and had so much of a vital role on that side of the ball for this team, and without him, I expect them to fall off a significant amount. Offensively, I expect them to have no problems whatsoever. They're going to gel very well, especially with C. Wood as their third option. But defensively, I think that is still going to be a problem and ultimately their downfall. Just like last season, they still don't have a real rim protector. And sure, C. Wood is better than having, Kleber at the 5, or having Dwight Powell at the 5, or JaVale McGee at the 5. But look at all the other options. It's not like it's really hard to do better than that. And now that you're removing one of the support systems for C. Wood defensively in Dorian Finney-Smith, I expect that to be ultimately the biggest reason why they inevitably lose come postseason time. But they can still retool this roster. I think C. Wood is viable to be traded even before the deadline, so I wouldn't be surprised if he gets moved. But for right now, it looks like he's pretty safe, and they're going to run this lineup of Kyrie, C. Wood, and Luka. Nonetheless, though, I still think it's a good trade for the Mavericks because it gives them the opportunity to finally see Luka Doncic more off the ball. And hell, even if it's ISO, last year they did that and they got to the Western Conference Finals. And if they can do that this year, I think that's a successful season. Obviously, the next step is to win the finals, but they can deal with that down the road. But speaking of dealing with that down the road, this is another question I want to ask the Dallas Mavericks fans. Do you honestly believe that Kyrie Irving will stay? I mean, I understand that if he leaves, you've cleared up cap room, but that's cap room to do what exactly? We do not know yet. So if Kyrie were to get up and leave, that would mean you gave up the heart and soul of your defense in Dorian Finney-Smith, a defense that was already struggling, and now without him is probably falling off of a cliff, and another ball handler in Spencer Dinwiddie that does provide a level of relief for Luka in the offense. All of that would be gone just for about 30 to 35 games of Kyrie Irving. You also have to consider his health. What if he suffers an injury, knock on wood, but it is a possibility that he suffers something before the end of the season or come postseason time. And hell, even if we remove injuries from the equation and we turn injuries off like they do in 2K, Kyrie could just go Kyrie on the situation, and all of a sudden you have a problem in the locker room. I'm really not trying to be that guy and say Kyrie's some team cancer, because I do think his teammates like him. It's not like he's a bad guy, but problems do seem to follow Kyrie everywhere he goes. Sometimes he can't help it, and it's the things around him, or it's sometimes the things that he says and does on his own. And I really do wish I could be a fly on the wall to see that first meeting between Mark Cuban and Kyrie Irving, and hell, even how some of them contract negotiations is finna go. But hey, those are just my thoughts on this Kyrie Irving to Dallas situation. A video about the Nets is gonna be dropping soon because, man, I have a whole lot to say, but I want to wait till the trade deadline passes. If they trade KD, if they don't trade KD, that's gonna be a pretty interesting story. But you guys let me know your opinions down below in the comment section. Do not forget to drop a like, subscribe to the channel, and press the bell for post notifications. Also, follow me on social media. The links are down below in the description box. This is your boy Young Mustard signing out. You guys stay safe and have a blessed day. Peace.